Later, the pasuk says, Klal Yisrael will be over the Zara. Terrible things will befall the Jewish people at that time. And Klal Yisrael will say at that time, it's because Hashem is not among me. That's why all these terrible things happen. And the next pasuk is, I will hide my face from all the bad that's happening to them. The Rebbe Ben from Shishcha asked, why is the punishment continuing? Didn't they just say that all this befell them because Hashem is not with them? That sounds like tshuva. So why does the pasuk follow up with, and I will hide my face from them? Answered Rebbe Benim that for a Jew to believe, even in the darkest times, that Hashem has forsaken him, that Hashem is not with him, he's not among him, that itself is an Aveira. And that itself will bring Anochi Haster Aster. Because a Jew has to know that no matter what he did and what type of tzaras he's going through, that may be very well be earned, like in this case, it doesn't matter. Hashem never leaves him, Hashem never abandons him, Hashem never forsakes him. The Loshen Vanoichi Haster Aster Panai is a double language of Hester. What is that teaching us? Vanoichi Haster Aster. The Baal Shem Tov said that this is the worst form of Hester Panim. Because when a person has Hester Panim, he's distant from Hashem, but he's at least aware that he's distant from Hashem, then there's hope for him. He'll strive, he'll yearn, he'll daven to get back close to Hashem. But if Hashem hides the Hester, I will hide the fact that I'm hidden. So you can have a Jew who's far from Hashem, but he doesn't even know that he's far from Hashem. He's distant from Hashem, and he thinks there's nothing wrong and that he's close. Such a person will never do tshuva, will never strive, will never try to get back closer to Hashem. And that's the worst form of Hester Panim. A double Hester Panim, when a person doesn't even know that he has Hester Panim. The Dagamachan Ephraim writes on this pasuk, Anoichi Haster Haster, that the Anoichi, the presence of Hashem, is hidden. Meaning to say, the presence is there, Hashem is there, he's just hidden. And the Dagel gives a mashal. He says a king made many barriers and obstacles around him to keep people away. But it's all an optical illusion. If a person tries to penetrate through those barriers, they'll disintegrate in front of his eyes. But most people don't even attempt because they're scared off by these walls or these rivers or these wild animals. And those that do push through, they push through one or two, but after a little while they get turned off. And only someone who's moist nefesh to come close to the king, who really wants to come close to the king, pushes through them all, and eventually they all disintegrate. And he realizes that there never was a Hester upon him. The king never really was hidden. There was really nothing surrounding him. And that's the way it is with Hashem. Degel says it's a way for the king to test how committed somebody is to him, if he's willing to push through and be moist in efforts to get to him. And that's what Hashem does too. When a person does that, he ends up higher and greater than he was before. Anoichi Haster, that even under the Hester upon him, there's the Anoichi of Hashem the whole time. Hashem never really left. The Devish Shmuel from Slonim says on this pasuk a tremendous mashal. He says when the king's son is in the palace, the king doesn't have to keep such a close eye on him. He's safe. He's around good people. But if the king's son does something wrong and is sentenced to be banished from the palace and exiled, Out of the palace, there's a lot of dangerous things and dangerous people. The king banished him, but the king doesn't want anything to happen to him. So the king has to keep a double eye on his son when he's in exile. But he can't let the son know, because if the son realizes that his father's watching him so tightly and so intensely, then he's not going to feel like he's in exile. So the king does it in a secret way that nobody should know. The son should never find out he's being watched. But the reality is he's being watched even more than when he was in the palace. It's an unbelievable idea that when a person is doing things right, there's one level of hashgacha from Hashem. When a person's exiled from Hashem, then he's in great danger, and then Hashem watches him doubly so. It's just that he can't see it. And the Rabbi Shmuel doesn't explain how he connects it back to the pasuk, but I think Aster is explaining the double language. I will hide, I will hide. It's because there's a double shmira that's going on when a person's in trouble, when a person's exiled, when a person's been banished from the king. It's just that they're both hidden, so that the person should feel like he's exiled. But the reality is that there's a double shmira. Kadosh Baruch Hu is keeping an extra eye on a person who's far from him.